Hi everyone, and welcome to this video. So this is the second devlog that I'm making on Terror Hunter. If you want to just keep updated, you can check out my Facebook page, which I'll link in the description. There I usually post a lot more, a lot more. I post more screenshots and more, um, let's say, small updates, while on YouTube I just post the bigger updates. Now, this is actually not a huge update, but what I wanted to show you here is a couple of things. One is the car. So I managed to make a 3D model of the car, very simplistic. I'm not a modeler, and I also wanted to achieve something very low poly that matched the style of the game. Um, and with the style of the game, I actually mean the style of the mannequin, which is very low poly. Um, oop. Having said this, you can see that actually I did not even use smooth shading on some of the surfaces, for example, the side windows. But on other things, such as the body and the headlights, the tail lights, and the windshield, I did use smooth shading. Even the tires, just because it looks a bit better. So I used a mix of the two. Um, the wheels, front and rear, are both animated, so they do rotate based on the actual speed of the car. And the front wheels steer, so that's all fine and dandy. They do not heave, so they do not react to bumps, but I'll probably implement that in the future. Um, I'll show you how the car looks in game. So we have two camera views for the car, a rear view camera, which is this one, and a front or bonnet view camera, which is my favorite for this game, to be honest, because it allows you to see the action close up, when you actually hit the mannequin. Boom, you can actually see the mannequin rolling away. Um, so yeah, you can have, you can use both. I'll show you another demonstration while I use the rear camera. Now, using the rear camera, I still have to, let's say, improve this because as you can see right now, when I turn the camera moves directly with the car, which is not really pleasant, I would say. Um, but it's cool. It's cool view. I think it's pretty nice. I like it. Um, then what we have here is a small end menu. So essentially, when you finish the level, you can just decide if to go back to the main menu, go to the next level, or replay. And this is the crucial part. I think in this game, the replay functionality is crucial because uh, when you actually play and finish a level, I think at least what I would do is I would go back and see every single mannequin I killed, and how I killed them and where they ended up, what did they hit, all these kind of things. And I think gives you a really cool view on on what you did, throughout the level. However, I do not know how to implement it, so that will take some time. I'll have to learn how to do that, but we'll get there, hopefully. Having said this, I can show you a bit in more detail how the car looks like. So if we go in the mesh and we just disable the mesh and I clear the skybox and lighting, you can see how I structured the colliders or the hitboxes for the car. Actually, these are just box colliders, so the most efficient ones, but they're quite imprecise. Um, as you may know. So ideally, I should use either a mesh collider or capsule colliders in some areas, such as the front bumper area, as you can see, because it's much more rounded. And I think I will do that. So this is definitely not the final version. I think I will make modifications of this, but it does the job, to be honest, and it works fairly well. So I'm relatively happy about this. There is some, I think it will be better to have rounded surface, not only for collision detection with the mannequin, but also for the decals instantiation. So when decals are being instantiated on top of the car. So I'll give you an example. So now I'm gonna run, and I'm gonna run the mannequin, or I'm not gonna run over the mannequin. Basically, the mannequin will hit the bonnet probably, and decals will be generated by the mannequin. You know, both. Let's pause the game. Let's see where we are here. Yes, this is annoying because the mannequin is in the way. Fantastic. Let's move forward a few frames. Just a second. Okay, this is terrible because it destroys my demonstration. Fantastic. I think we'll have to redo it. Yeah, we'll have to redo it. All right, so that this is fine. Even if the car is upside down, I don't really care. It's all right. So, okay, so open the gizmos. What can you see? So you can see that all the blue squares are the decals, okay, the blood decals, and you can see that what they do is they get generated parallel to the surface they hit. Okay, so on the mannequin, of course, they're in all directions because the surfaces that they hit are angled in every different way, you know. So the face has the normal of the face is a bit in this direction, and then on the arms, it's, you know, the arms are pointing in another direction, and this is based on the colliders of the ragdoll, okay? The direction where the uh, decals are actually instantiated. The same goes with the car and the ground. So the ground has a flat collider, so decals get projected or get instantiated parallel to that flat collider. The car, however, for the car, it's the same, and that this is where the issue comes in. A bit, you know, it's not a huge issue, but I'm going to explain why. Um, since we have horizontal or since we have box colliders which just have horizontal or vertical faces, if the mannequin hits the top face of the collider, which is this green box, then we will get projections of decals exactly parallel to that box. However, if the mannequin hits it's the front of that box, you can see that a decal such as this one, this vertical one, will be instantiated. So what's the issue with this? Well, the issue is that decals are then always either parallel or vertical with respect to the car, and by being instantiated in those directions, they are never able to cover, they are never able to project the decal itself, the texture itself, onto the mesh in the optimal way, because the mesh is rounded. You know, the mesh, if you look at the car, is not matching with the colliders. Actually, it's actually very rounded, especially at the front. It's quite flat on the top here, so on the top here it's fine, it's relatively good, but on the front here it's quite rounded. So what happens is that when we get a decal that is being projected in this way, so it's being projected just vertically or horizontally, um, and the decal goes around a rounded mesh surface, then the furthest part of the mesh, well, the decal at that point, the decal at the furthest point on the mesh, or the texture at the furthest point on the mesh will start to fade out. It will fade away, okay? And I will give you a demonstration right here. So if I create a decal, okay, let's just create a decal. Let's assign it. Assign this to it. And let's rotate it by 180 degrees. Why don't I see it? Let me just check. Oh, okay, that's why. All right. decal. Should display it on the car. Okay, it's interesting. Wait a second. Okay, we do have keys. We have everything on. Why is it not being displayed? Let me just fix this, guys, and then I'll come back with the demonstration. Hi, guys, we're back. So here is the demonstration. As you can see, when the decal, let me just turn it around, 270. Let's put 270 is too much. Minus 90. Should I go? Or 90? Then 90. Perfect. So when the mannequin hits the bonnet, a decal, which is absolutely horizontal, will get instantiated. Okay? It will get placed on the bonnet. Now, that's fine. We're on the bonnet. The bonnet is, as you can see, the mesh of the bonnet is quite horizontal, right? It's relatively horizontal. But now let's move the decal closer and closer to the front. You can see that the decal starts getting a bit stretched, but it's still fine. It's still fine. It's still fine. Oh, now we get some issues. Now we're starting to get some issues. What issues are these? Now, the issues that we're getting when we get to the actual front is that the decal is projecting the texture partially on the horizontal bonnet, which is fine, and partially on the vertical front. And in this case, the texture gets stretched and it gets blurred out. It starts fading out, basically. Okay? Why? Because of distance, essentially. It mainly depends on distance. So when the mesh is far away from the decal box, however you want to call it, then we start getting an effect of a faded out texture, okay? And you can see it also when I move away, this decal, you can see that it's slowly fading out. The decal is slowly fading out, and now it's not there anymore. Now this is why at the front, ideally, you would have or if it's just on the bonnet, a horizontal decal is fine. If it's just at the front, just at the front, I mean just at the front. Sorry, let me scale it to okay. If it's just here at the front, a decal which is vertical is absolutely fine. It's okay, it gets a bit stretched here, all right, but overall it's relatively good. You won't even notice that. However, if it's half on the bonnet and half on the front bumper, we do have an issue. And with these horizontal hitboxes, we would like to have the decal being projected or being orientated somewhat in this way, slightly inclined, even inclined with respect to the y-axis in some cases. Okay, and this is not what I'm not. I do not have this implemented, and as you can see here, it's perfect because we don't have any stretching. We have a bit of stretching, but we don't have a lot of texture fading out. Only this part is slightly fading out because it's far away. So this is really, really, really looking good, And this is what the way to achieve this is if I use capsule colliders and rounded surface, which in that case allow me to project the decal exactly parallel, to that surface. If it's a round surface and if it matches the surface of the mesh, then if the mannequin hits that round surface, we will get a decal which is instantiated in this way, basically, in this inclined way. So this is just a small demonstration. I hope I haven't bored you too much. So guys, I've implemented a few other things, but they're so small, I'm not even going to bother explaining them to you. I'd like to thank you for watching this video, and if you want to, stay tuned, then you can just subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and I'll link in the description, as I already stated at the beginning of the video, a link to my Facebook page where I actually do most of the smaller updates. So thanks again, and see you next time.